Hello, and welcome to Addicted Like Us, a podcast discussing all things written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm your host, Haley, and today I have Julia, aka Reading Chemist Chronicles, with me to talk about Some Kind of Perfect, Book 10 in the Addicted series. Before we go too far, this is a reminder, we are on part 8 of the Some Kind of Perfect discussion, so make sure you listen to the first 7 parts before listening to this one. Quick recap, I'm Haley, a longtime reader and lover of Krista and Becca's work. I'm also a part-time illustrator, and I had the privilege of working on the special edition covers for the Like Us series. Now I just love to spend all my time talking about all my favorite books, aka anything written by Krista and Becca. So the Addicted Like Us podcast was created so I could sit down with friends and discuss all of our thoughts. So let me reintroduce you to Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I've been reading and loving Krista and Becca's books for 10 years now. I first found Addicted to You on a Goodreads list and then read every book that was out and have continued reading every book as they release. I went from kind of a silent reader and Fizzle Force and Patreon member participant to starting my Bookstagram a year and a half ago, and I love chatting about these books, so I'm happy to be here talking about my favorite fictional universe.
Yeah. All right, so to refresh from the last episode, all of the kids have been born. So the Cobalt family, excuse me, has Jane, Charlie, Beckett, Elliot, Tom, Ben, Audrey. They had their second girl in the last episode. So the Cobalt family is officially finished. The Hale family has Maximoff, Luna, Xander, and Kenny. The Meadows family has Sully and Winona. And Garrison and Willow, the Abbey family, have their daughter Veda, their one and only. So lots and lots of kids at this point. And then I think the other thing that kind of like carries over into this episode to remember was we finished off with Lily and Lo having a parent-teacher conference with Luna's kindergarten teacher. And it was like very early on in the school year, and she was already noting that Luna was having trouble connecting with the other kids in her class. They think she's weird. And the teacher is like trying to urge Lily and Lo to push Luna towards activities that are quote unquote normal, which is lame. Let Luna love what she loves. But I think those are that's the big things to remember. So we covered the first half of 2025 in the last episode. So we're going to cover the rest of 2025 in this episode. So we are picking back up. It is November of 2025. We're in Lo's point of view at Manhattan Medical Hospital in New York. And he is there to see Jonathan, who is dying from it's chronic liver rejection. I can't remember the exact terms for it, but like he had his liver transplant back in Fuel the Fire. Reich donated part of his liver so that Jonathan could live longer, and he has, but now his body is rejecting this liver transplant. Reich can't donate again. And Jonathan is very, very low on the list to receive. So he's going to die. Lo is so mad because his dad has known about this for a long time at this point and has not told anybody. And he had this whole thing where he was telling Lo that, like, I'm on vacation in Hawaii. I've met this pretty young thing and like we're gonna have a great time, and in actuality he was in a hospital. Like, oh my god, Jonathan, you can't tell your kids that you're in the fucking hospital.
I feel like that's just such a perfect example of like Jonathan's mindset though, because he's like, well, I'm doing it for Lo. Like I'm protecting him from knowing that I'm sick. Like it's for him. And it's like, that's not what he, like, okay, it's just the way that he like sees what he's doing. It's just like, yeah.
I have my feelings on him. Like, I don't know. It's so complicated. I feel like I can't outright hate him the way I feel like I can outright hate Samantha. But he still sucks so bad. But it's really hard for Lo because Jonathan was like, of the 3 kids, Reich, Lo, and Willow, Lo was the one that spent the most time with Jonathan. He was the one that really raised him and essentially shaped who Lo is today, for good or for bad. Like, it's his parenting style has just like affected Lo in all aspects, how he parents his own kids, his own battles, his addiction, all of that. It's very tied into Jonathan, and it's hard for him to see his dad dying. Like that's his only parent, which is why I feel like I can't outright sit here and just bash Jonathan. Like I kind of want to, because like, yeah, I understand where Lo's coming from, that his dad is dying. Like he won't have any other parent. His other parent wanted nothing to do with him. She essentially doesn't exist to him. So he's going to have no one. And it's also challenging too, because like Jonathan's kind of aware at this point that he is going. So he's over here like, isn't this the point where you start like praising me? You're supposed to like give me all of these flowery words on my deathbed. And like Lo can't even get out like, you were a great father. He was just, you were okay. But Jonathan like eventually flips it to, you were a better man than I was. Which is really like, I think it's pretty meaningful for him to hear, because there have been moments even in this book where Lo has questioned his ability as a dad compared to Reich. That like Lo can't keep his kids out of the media the way Reich could keep his kid out of the media, and like he parents his kids, like Reich parents his kids differently than the way Lo does. He was comparing himself to Reich a lot, and like, am I a bad dad for that? And I think it's pretty meaningful to hear like this guy who Jonathan like won't, I don't want to call him narcissistic, but like he's not one to,
he doesn't like being wrong. He doesn't like
no, he
anyone
doesn't,
like besting him or
yeah,
being wrong, or he does kind of have a little bit of that like narcissism in him.
yeah, there's just like, you wouldn't expect to hear him say someone's better than him at something, that like there were failures in his life and that he can recognize those failures in himself. But here he is. He's telling Lo that you were a better man than I was. And like many aspects. I mean, he did wind up staying sober. That was something that Lo talks about after Jonathan relapsed in, that was Addicted After All. The end of Addicted After All, he had relapsed, but he remained sober after that liver transplant. And I mean, big kudos to him for that, but it was a lot of Lo and Reich pushing him to remain sober, to even try to be sober in the first place, versus Lo, like, I think wanted to accept the help at a certain, I don't know. I'm over here like, Lo's better. I agree. Jonathan did take like a similar path, but I still feel like Lo was more accepting of it than Jonathan.
And I think even also just the fact that, kind of as you were talking about with him, this struggle with kind of like doubting how, I mean, even at first, like knowing, becoming a dad, not knowing if you wanted kids, and then like now being a dad and being, I think it's taken a while to get to the point of even being, okay, am I a good parent? And in comparison to that, but especially having the, you know, being raised how he was, and knowing his dad wasn't the best dad and wasn't the
Yeah.
best like role model for it, but
Right.
knowing that like he's better than that, and not only knowing he's better than that, but having like Jonathan tell him like, you're
Yeah.
better than I was. I think that also, yeah, that's like something that
Yes.
was, when he talks about how it's like, even when he tells him that, it's just like very emotional.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's also pretty emotional is Jonathan asks, will you remember what? That I loved you. And in his own warped way, yes, Jonathan did love Lo. Like, he did not express it in very healthy ways, but like, you can't deny that he was the one that was like, to Emily Moore, don't get the abortion. I will raise this son as my own. I have these perceived threats around him. Connor, I am going to protect him from these threats. When Lily's sex addiction was publicized, Greg and Samantha wanted nothing to do with it, but Jonathan was willing to like sit down with them and come up with a plan to get them through it. He really wanted Lo to become the CEO of Haleco. Like, that was his most preferred person to take on the role. Like, yes, he did love Lo. And I think it's really emotional here too for Lo to be like, yes, you did love me. You did verbally abuse me. He has recognized and spoken this aloud to others at this point. Lo has, but he can recognize that like there was a lot of love from his dad too, which is why it's also really hard for him to lose his dad, even though he was kind of shitty. Like,
Yeah. He knows he wasn't good, but also like he he knows like he Jonathan loves him and he has some of that because again like he was his only parent. He was the one who was there for him when no one else was. He
mm-hmm.
knows he is where he is because like he's just yeah, like Jonathan was the one there and he was not very good at a lot of like parenting
No,
things. He went about things in a really bad way. It, like Lo recognizes that a lot of that was from like Jonathan's version of love. Like he
yeah,
would say like, "Oh, well, I was doing these things because I'm doing it for you or because I love you." And
right,
like I think Lo can recognize like that. I think he's at the point now too that he can recognize like he didn't do it in the right way and he did a lot of things wrong in his parenting, like how he acted a lot of times to him and even right, but more so to him just because he was like his, raising him.
yeah,
But he also can like recognize that that can be true at the same time that like he does love him and it was like coming from his again like kind of maybe warped view of like, well, I love you, so I'm going to do this because, like, yeah, Connor's not good for you, or because of this, or like whatever it was. That's like, no, that's not how you do that.
right,
Like, because you love him, you should not do that because he doesn't want like that. But in his mind, he's like, so yeah, I think especially like now after, like at this point in his life, he's able to kind of take those two things and be like, they can both be true and that's okay. And he's also accepted the fact of like, yeah, I still love my dad, even though I can now admit like he was verbally abusive and like
yeah,
that's okay that I
yeah.
still love him.
And then the other thing, like to go along with, like, will you remember that I loved you? So it's clear who Jonathan's favorite is because Lo is the one that gets the call. Like when Jonathan is in the hospital, it's directed that they need to contact Lo over Reich or Willow. And Jonathan's the one that's like, are you going to call Reich and Willow to come here? I want to see them too, but like I'm asking you to do it. I wanted to see you first and talk with you first before I talk with your siblings. The other thing to note is like Jonathan did fight to make sure that his children were in his life,
Mm-hmm.
that his kids were kind of all over the place, and he made sure to like bring them together, that they had each other, that Reich and Willow all had each other in their lives as siblings. And I think that's also something that he once remembered.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in the chapter, Reich and Willow do finally arrive at the hospital. And Reich can tell that Lo is in a very bad place. This is probably one of his lowest moments in years. He wants to leave, he wants to drink alcohol, and Reich has to tell him Lily. Like, that is Lo's lifeline at this point. And even though Lo wants to leave and escape this pain, because this is painful, have personally watched a parent die and it sucks. He needs to sit there. He cannot leave. He's not Reich will not let him leave. He needs to sit in this
Mm-hmm.
and stay in the hospital with his dad. And they at this point they've been told like Jonathan's not gonna last the night. They're aware that like he's dying very, very, very soon. So Lo just needs to be there. Don't go drink. You're gonna feel really shitty for that. This is shitty, but drinking would be even shittier. So you're gonna do one of the shitty things. It like the right things are the hard things. So does stay in the hospital and he watches Jonathan die. So it's crazy to think that we are now existing in a world where Jonathan Hale is no longer here.
Yeah.
The next chapter, it's still November 2025, and Reich's point of view, and he is at Eden Cross Cemetery in Philly. And this is post Jonathan's funeral. So most everyone has kind of dispersed at this point, and Reich is at the gravesite. And this is challenging for Reich too, because he's had a very complicated relationship with his dad as well, different than Lowe's. But, you know, Jonathan did not treat Reich's mother very well, but like I had mentioned, Jonathan did fight very hard to make sure that all of his kids had each other. And that's something that Reich cannot fault him for. That despite all of the pain that Jonathan has caused, he has brought Reich a lot of love, introducing him to Lo. And, you know, Lo has ties to the Calloway sisters, and in that way brought Daisy into his life and the rest of his immediate family now and his children. Like, you could kind of credit some of that to him pushing him in that way. So he does say to his dad after he's gone, I did fucking love you in the end, which is very big of Reich to admit. Even though he couldn't say it to him in the end, like while he was alive, even just verbalizing that is a lot for Reich. I don't cry for him. I don't fucking need to, but I needed to say this. Yeah. So after the funeral, the Meadows family is going for a hike, just the four of them, as like a way to kind of decompress a little bit. It's been a media circus that Jonathan is gone. They just want to like reconnect with each other and with nature because that's just who they are. So they're out for a hike. Reich's got cutie little Winona on his back and she keeps kicking him. She's a little squirmy baby.
It's so funny. Sully was not like that. I think you
Not at
mentioned
all.
like, oh, she was just sitting peacefully, like in like Winona. Oh no, she's not. She doesn't just sit peacefully for the hike.
Yeah, and Daisy's like, you want to trade? And Reich's like, no, I'm not trading because you trip and fall when we walk, and you are not allowed to trip and fall while you're holding our baby. So cute, too. She's like, guess what? You've got an animal on your back. I do. And she's wiggling and saying, Daddy. Oh, he says it. She's fucking cute. That's something that we need to pay attention to. Just by the way, I really need a thesaurus so that I'm not saying cute or sweet. I promise I will try and come up with better words. But he does say she's fucking cute. Okay, she's cute. He goes, hey, sweetheart, we made that baby. But the chapter is quick, but it ends with like, they have this nice, peaceful, serene moment where Sully, like, just takes in the landscape and says, like, wow. And, I mean, it's hard for her, too. She's a kid, and I was definitely not that young when I experienced death for the first time. But, like, it's a heavy thing to try and tell a small kid for them to conceptualize, but it's just a moment for the family to feel very grateful to be alive. They in particular, the Meadows, have faced a lot of really scary moments, have lost quite a few people and encountered death a lot. So it's a moment to feel very grateful to be alive.
Yeah, it's like it's not a. It's very like them that like they're doing it with this like family hike. It's like
Yes.
even in like the I don't know, this is a while ago, but after I don't know, I feel like a lot of the big like emotional moment I don't know, like a lot of the big moments after like there's something like really heavy, it's like okay, let's like go out in nature and just
Yeah.
be like whether it's like, you know, while like right climbing with Sully or like they're going on a hike or they're going out for I don't know, whatever. Like that's just kind of like how they kind of like decompress, reconnect, like just whatever after like
Yeah.
some of these like really emotional times in their family life. So
Yes, I agree. All right, so then the final chapter of 2025 is December at the Hale House in Lowe's POV. And this is one of my favorite chapters in the entire book. So obviously it's been like a month since Jonathan died. And like I said, this is a really low moment for Lo. And like it's grief. It's not linear. This is not something that goes away after a month. This is something that he really has to work through. Um, and it requires time. So he is sitting on the couch with Lily. And they've got the two youngest, Xander and Kenny, are with them at the house. Maximoff and Luna have sleepovers tonight. Maximoff got invited to a neighborhood sleepover, and Luna did as well. And this one's her first one. So she was really excited. She like skipped out the door on her way out. So like they're trying to keep things light and happy for the kids through all of this. But Lo has been struggling. He is on antabuse now. This is the first time he's been on antabuse in a really, really long time, which is how we know that he is struggling because, like, even the I have to imagine that even the lifeline of like, don't Lily, you have Lily and you have four kids to think about is not enough. We have to add in a medication to kind of also help prevent these thoughts. He also talks about how he did drive to a liquor store and he sat in the parking lot for a while. He did not go in, and luckily no one captured him there, but it was really close. And he doesn't want to be that dad that like his kids will eventually know that he is an alcoholic, and to imagine that years down the line there like that people could have captured that he was relapsing. That's not something you want your kids to come across like that.
I think it's really good too showing this and how like he is like back on abuse because it's like he even like yes he has there's been like it's been a while since he's like relapsed and he's been like it kind of shows that like it's not just like oh like once he was like in recovery and he's good like it's good right like it's he's always gonna be an alcoholic like that's like he's always gonna have that it's not something and Lily kind of it was even something like I feel like in like one of the first chapters a quote Lily had but that's not something that just like goes away and so yes it's been a really like it's been a long time since it might have been like he might have struggled this much and but like you know when something really big like this happens in his life like that is like not something that he can just even like in the past years that he's been able to kind of get through it with just like okay I can't you know I can't drink because like think of Lily and like I have my kids I don't want them to see that like that not that that doesn't like help probably him stop but like it's like he knows that like that is he's at the point now where like that might not be enough and I think it's really good to like show that
Yeah.
it's not like he's just things are good now even
Right.
like it is a continual thing.
Yeah, it's that thing in Addicted After All that they talk about that an addict will always be an addict, and like they're talking about that in their final book where in theory they should have like in a perfect world they'd be recovered, but this is a realistic world. So in their final book, we're going to acknowledge that they will always be addicts. Even in this epilogue novel, we will still acknowledge that they're always going to be addicts and they will encounter times in their life where they will struggle. Um, and yeah, it's also, like I said, that grief isn't linear and an addiction recovery is not linear either. And they will have good days, but then they're going to encounter hard days and they'll have low moments like this. It's something that they discuss in this chapter too. Lo is like, he can't sit on that couch anymore. He feels like he's like crawling out of his skin. He needs to leave. Lily really wants him to stay. She's like, "Here, Kenny, hold her." And he's like, "No, Lily, not even my cute daughter. Like I need to leave." Xander's like, "Where are you going?" Not even that is going to keep him, but Lily like runs to the door and tries to stop him. He's like, physically you can't really stop me. You know that, right? Very sweet that you're trying, but she does talk like, you can get through this. You have been through hard shit, and this is really, really hard shit. Um, and this is going to be a really, really hard year, but you can do it. I've seen you get through hard times, and I can't imagine what that must be like for Lo to, like, he talks about how I don't think I can get through a year of feeling this way. Like, that is a long time. If you sit and think about, like, if I were to sit, like, imagine myself in a really, really hard, like, feeling not great, depressed, maybe really sad, upset, and then imagine that I have to feel that way for 365, like, for that long. That's a long time. That's really, really fucking hard to just try and picture and then, be like, yeah, I can get through that. Of course I can. Like, it takes a lot of strength for both of them to understand that that's something that they will have to go through and to push themselves through. And in this moment, Lily is like, was struggling with that concept, and Lily's like, no, you can do it. And you know what? Not every day is going to be hard. There are going to be some really good moments. You're going to see your kids do some really amazing things. Like, they'll bring light to your life. Our siblings are going to bring some really happy moments to our lives. And there will be brighter days in that year. And he can get through it. But, oh gosh, the strength. I cannot imagine. They are superheroes. These
Yeah.
two. It's so hard. Yeah. It also, she also said, so he goes, like, I don't think I can take a horrible year, Lil. She goes, 1 year is a blip in our lifetime. You've been through worse. You can take a horrible year. I know you can. It, like, kind of reminds me of all of these moments that I, like, not the same kind of challenge. I just remember being, like, stressed about exams in college and being like, oh my God, I cannot picture life past these exams or these hard, like, things that are coming up, and then thinking back on it years back, being like, oh yeah, that was just like a tiny little blip, and I did get through it. Like, I've seen a quote of like, I have 100% track record for getting through the hard days, and that's, pretty fucking incredible. And they have that too. They have 100% track record of getting through hard days. They are still here and pushing through, and that's incredible. So it was an important talk for Lily and Lo to have. And right at the end of that, at the door, they have someone at their front door, and Lo is also getting a call on his phone. Lily goes to the door, Lo picks up his phone, and it's Hannah Yankton, who is the mom of this girl that Luna went to have a sleepover with a bunch of other kids. And Hannah is saying that Luna changed her mind. She doesn't want to sleep over anymore. Someone needs to come pick her up. And at that same moment, Lo notices that Reich was the one at the door that Lily had like sneaky texted Reich, being like, Lo's having a bad moment. He needs his brother, his sponsor, essentially, to come over here and help him. So Lo is going to be the parent that goes to get Luna, and Reich is right behind him. He talks about how, like, Reich is, like, trying to put his shoes on and, like, tie his laces, and he's able to do that and keep up with Lo's, like, firm stride. It's also, like, Lo is feeling so many feelings. He doesn't even bother driving down to go pick up Luna. He's like, I'm gonna walk. I need to experience, like, this cold air is like an ice bath kind of thing. And so they reach the house, and the mom, Hannah, opens the door. She has like, she's like, I'm so sorry. I've had a talk with the girls, with Jeffra, who we will continue to dislike forever and ever.
Yes.
So she's like, I'm gonna have a talk with Jeffra. Like, I didn't realize the girls had this planned. This was not intent. Like, I personally didn't intend any of this to happen. And Lo's over here like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's going on? And that's when our sweet Luna comes to the door with all of her stuff. She looks like, she looks kind of dejected. And even worse, these fucking losers wrote on Luna's forehead in Sharpie, weirdo, because they suck. And
Kids can be cruel, but
they,
also parents need to parent their kids better to not
they're
be bullies.
kindergartners.
Yeah, like you don't just come up with this at 5 years old.
No! Hannah, I don't fucking care what you say that you had a talk with Jeffra, please. She got it from somewhere. We don't like the Yanktons. We will continue to dislike the Yanktons. And Lo, like, threatens in this moment, like, if any of this gets like spilled anywhere, I will sue you for all your fucking worth. And like she does seem scared, but we'll see that litigation does not necessarily deter these people in the future. And so he and Reich get Luna out of there. He picks up Luna and he notices that like her pants are wet. So not only did they write weirdo on her head and it won't come off, Luna fell asleep first and they stuck her hand in water and forced her to pee herself in her sleep. Because they suck. Because kids are cruel. Oh my God. She's crying. She's not crying, but like you can tell how upset and shaken she is, that like her eyes are glassy. The tears haven't fallen yet, but she is very, very upset. And she's like, I didn't know the rules of sleepover. It's like, Luna, you weren't breaking any rules. These are just really, really shitty kids that shouldn't be your friends. And she's like upset about the weirdo thing. She's like, get it off. I can't get it off. And Lo has to tell her that it's permanent marker and like it will eventually wash off, but it's not going away anytime soon. Like it'll be a couple of days. And I feel like there was where do I see it? There it is. The part where she's like trying to scrub it off that it won't come off. Lo is talking with her and Reich is so mad. Like you can see how furious he is and he has to like walk off his anger. They're all very upset. It's the bit. Luna, I need you to know something. Your mom loves you. I love you. Your brothers and sisters love you. Your aunts, uncles, and cousins all love you. You're so goddamn loved. And Luna's like, you said a bad word, but you forgot something. I don't have any friends that love me. Luna Hale, let me tell you the secret of the universe. Your worth isn't dictated by the number of friends you have. You can have 0 friends and still be the most amazing, spectacular person in the whole galaxy. You want to know why? Because the love friends give you isn't even comparable to the love you give yourself. Do you love who you are, Luna Hale? Then you're the queen of your own galaxy. Yes, my alien queen. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I love this entire moment between Lo and Luna. It's so special to me. It makes me cry. I've read this part so many times, and reading it out loud just gets me right in my feelings. But I love it because it is the start of our beautiful Luna not conforming to what society says, what the norm is, that she is allowed to be a proud weirdo, that she doesn't need these so-called friends in her life. I think it was something that the teacher had said, is that she has like no shame, and that really hurt Lily. But you know what? Let Luna be shameless. She can be beautifully shameless, and we will continue to see her be this way. And I love it. It's the start of it
Yeah.
all.
I love that, yeah, despite like the outside people, like the teacher being like, oh, she's just a little like she's not shy, she's just weird. So I don't know if she said it that way, but basically, she's like, make like, try to encourage her to do like normal things. Like, people are like, oh, you should basically change her to fit in with everyone else. And like Lo in this moment is not like that is no.
We're giving
He's
up on
like,
that.
no, you are perfect how you
Yeah.
are. Like your
Yes.
worth is not dictated by how many friends you have. You are amazing. The fact like do you like yourself? That's all that matters. You're like it's just like Lo, you are a great parent. Like that's what these kids need.
Like, just the snaps to him too for being able to do this in this low moment, in this really, really challenging time for him. That like
Yes.
he can struggle and feel like he needs to drink, but also he can be a really fucking amazing dad. This is
Yes.
why
Like
you
when
need
his kids need him, he's
to
like,
fight, Lo.
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
love
that,
that. And
yeah.
also the fact that, as I feel like we've been saying the last many chapters that or many years, I feel like the two themes of this book are like all the side friendships and like platonic love and sibling and other friendships in the book that you don't see in the beginning romance books. And then
Right.
also the kids growing, seeing the kids and who their personalities developed. It's that. Those are like
Yes.
the two things I feel like I just keep going back to. But it really is like we see here how this is such a big moment in how
Mm-hmm.
who Luna is and like the fact that she's not told, yeah, you need to be, fit in with these other kids. The fact that like this conversation with Lo and this is like, no, be who you are. You you're the queen of your own galaxy. Be who you
Mm-hmm.
are. Like that is all that matters. That you love yourself. Your family loves you. That shapes like who she is so much, and we see that here. And also like seeing her with. I feel like with Luna, we also see that moments like this, which are not. It's like probably one of many for her, although it's like the on page one we see, but like
Yeah.
you know, bullies are bullies and kids are kids and they
Yeah.
don't but like that can also like shape how she becomes like who she is as like a person of like
Yeah.
she has these things, but she never like I don't know. She has this like this shapes how she deals with that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I can't think of the right word, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That, like, her eventual response, like, how she will respond to challenges like this in the future, kind of starts with this moment here. And then leading off of the two themes of platonic relationships and seeing the start of these characters and like who they are as characters. So after this very sweet moment, Rose drives up in her Escalade, and it was because Reich had been angry texting the group chat the whole time that Lo's having this beautiful moment with his daughter. Reich really needed to work his anger out. Fair enough. And so apparently, two of Rose's children had overheard her and Connor talking about this. And she said she had caught them in the bathroom doing this. This was their idea. They're grounded. They're not allowed to watch TV if they spend the night at Uncle Lo's. And Lo's over here, like, well, Maximov's not here. Like, so if it's Charlie and Beckett. And no, she opens the door. And who comes out? Elliot and Tom. And they also have weirdo scrawled across their foreheads. And Luna is she's like, why would you do that? But because if they're going to call you a weirdo, that means we're weirdos. Definitely. My troublemakers. I love you all so much. I'm so happy. We have Luna. We're going to get Tom so soon. I'm
Yes.
so ready for these three. But
I
yes,
also
we
love
see the beautiful platonic relationship between these cousins and how tight-knit these three are going to be in the future.
yes. And also I love like so starting with like before they got there when she says to Reich like Uncle Reich, I'm not a weirdo, and he's like, so what if you are? Like weirdos
Mm-hmm.
are cool. And then like Elliot and Tom coming out with like the weirdo on their head and being like, if you're a weirdo, we're a weirdo. Not like it's like weirdo's not a bad thing, right? Like
Right.
being weird isn't a bad thing. Weirdo's not a bad word. Like, and that I feel like is also a really big like moment for her and for them that they're not like, oh yeah, like no, like you can be yourself and stuff, but like yeah, you're not a weirdo. It's like right being like no, like so what if you are? That's cool. Like you can be a
Mm-hmm.
weirdo, and then them like also having weirdo on their foreheads. It's like yes, like this is
Casual.
okay.
Yeah. It's also, Lo does note that, like, these are Rose Calloway's kids. The loyalty that bleeds from these two for his daughter. I love that all of these kids will have very fierce protectors and warriors from their cobalt cousins. It's
Yes.
so beautiful to see. And so the chapter ends with, I feel all the sentiments Lily told me earlier tonight. Our bad days have the ability to become better. Maybe a horrible month, a horrible year, but there will be good days, good moments, great seconds. I vow to never forget that. Amen, Lo.
Yes.
I feel like I had started off these podcasts by reading these quotes, and then I fell off. But I feel like a lot of people really love this one. You're all incredibly boring. Charlie Keating Cobalt. So 2026, it is June. We are at Camp Calloway in the Poconos, and this is Daisy's point of view. So she is like doing her camp director stuff and watching her kids. Winona is being so cute. She's a little land crab, scuttling around Daisy's office, being so just adorable. And Sully's there too. Like a wave is coming, and Sully's going to be the wave that like washes Winona. And she talks about how Winona is very into animals. Like she's pretending to be a land crab right now. She says Daisy says that because she and Reich watch a lot of Nat Geo and Discovery Channel, Winona like kind of skews towards the interest in nature and animals, that she told them she was a panther and was like stalking Reich while he was just eating a bowl of granola, which I can just so vividly picture too, that he's just like so stoic while he's eating, and sweet Winona just like creeping. I cannot imagine that she was very stealthy about it. So anyway, the big thing is that this is Sully's first time spending like the summer at Camp Calloway, which is like really big because Daisy like created this camp for kids to find connection and friends, and like she created this around the same time that she was pregnant with Sully. She talks about how Camp Calloway is as old as Sullivan Mini Meadows, but we can kind of see how apprehensive Sully is about some of this. She gets her cabin assignment and it's like, what is it? She is in the red poppy cabin and she's like, well, I thought I was going to be in the yellow daisy cabin. Like she has these expectations kind of that aren't necessarily being met just because, I mean, she's never been there before. But it's also noted that like the camp is kind of, there are certain, like the cabins are all organized by like the girls in one cabin, boys in another cabin. Some of the activities the boys do, some of the activities only the girls do. So even though Maximoff will be at the camp, she won't necessarily see Maximoff. And Jane is not attending the camp because she has like 101-degree fever. And even though she was very insistent that she was well enough to come, she even got in the car. Rose and Connor said no. So Jane's not going to be there. She doesn't necessarily have all of the support that Sully is used to. This is like, of all of the families, the Meadows are very, very close knit. And she asks, like, can't you be a counselor? And Daisy's like, I'm the director. Like, I don't even spend my entire time at the camp. Like, I'll come in for spirit days or whatever, but like, I don't spend all my time here. You know, I can't do that. So it's hard for Sully to just be away from her family. And she's really starting to feel it. But Daisy's like really trying to paint this picture. Like, you're going to, it's hard, it's scary to picture, but you're gonna like, there are so many activities, horseback riding, and you'll have huge games of capture the flag, zip lining, rock climbing. You'll get close to the friends in your cabin. There's also a bit where she's like, where Sully asks like, well, is there swimming? Very important to her that she is allowed to swim in the lake. She's asked this question multiple times, so it's very important for her to know. We are allowed to swim in the lake, right? This is the 10th time she's asked. Worried the answer may change. So then Daisy says, so I have this theory. And Sully says, can I guess? She knows her mom. And I love, she's like, my peanut butter cupcake. Your theory is that I'll make at least one lasting friend. If not this year, then next year. And if not next year, then the year after. And if not then, well, maybe I already have that kind of friend. And Daisy loves that this is like a theory with a positive outcome, no matter which way it pans out. And she came up with this all on her own. They talk about, I think later, that Winona is very much Daisy Meadows' child, but Sully is hers as well. Sully's like, okay, I'm ready to go to the cabin. I'll see you later, little sister. She calls her Squirt. Winona is Squirt to Sully. I love it. I'll see you later, Squirt. And Daisy's like, you may see your dad out there, and he might be a little sad about you leaving. Just to warn you, he'll want a hug before you leave, and he may cry. oh, and he may not want to leave you, so you'll have to try and convince him to come home with me. And like, she's just saying this to like, you know, make Sully feel better. But also, I feel like there is a part of her like, that is like, yeah, no, let's take her home. She doesn't want to be here. Fine, let's go. I'm happy to take her back home with us.
Like, maybe I could stay, you know, I don't know, work at the camp.
Yeah, I was like, we find out what he's been doing, but like, yeah, he can continue to do that. He'll find a way to keep busy at camp. But also, Sully says, it won't be hard. Dad loves you so much. And Daisy thinks, I love him so much too. I love how apparent, like, that Reich and Daisy's love is very out there. That it's so obvious to their kids how much they love each other. Can't say sweet. It's so sweet. It's so beautiful. It's so touching. I love it. And Daisy says, I watch her through the door's window walking to the red poppy cabin alone and brave, so brave, because every camper probably knows who she is before she even introduces herself. In the same breath, she has no idea who they are. It's unequal footing, but if there's anyone who has the endurance and will to pull themselves higher, it's Sullivan Minnie Meadows, just like her dad. Yes.
That is such a good point, though, that like there's an added layer for Sully because all these kids know of her. She doesn't know them. So that's like an even extra layer of like just, I don't know, some like, I don't know, more. She needs like a little extra nerve-wracking maybe.
Yeah.
Like that on top of the fact that she's going to camp on her own, like the first time away from her family. She's 8, so I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe I was a very introverted child, but I'm like, I feel like that is a very big step. Like I don't think I could have gone to like a sleepaway camp when I was 8.
No, I think like I never actually did a sleepaway camp, but the one like similar thing we did, I was in middle school at the time. So I was a lot older than she was. Like on top of that, like Maximoff does also encounter that, but we also have to remember that Maximoff is raised differently than Sully and that he's very used to being in the public eye and is probably a little like, yes, these kids know of him more than he will ever know them, but I think that's something that he's probably a little more used to versus Sully, like, is a lot more private. So there's that added layer of it too.
Yeah.
At 8 that she has to wrap her mind around, but she has the will and the endurance to push through that.
Yeah. Daisy's right. She's brave and she can do it. So.
Yes. So then Daisy like walks out of the cabin. She's sitting out of her office, Winona between my legs. She picks up my ankle bracelets, and Lo is like leaning against a tree nearby. Daisy says, accurate depiction of saying goodbye. Hey Daisy, this is gonna suck as much as you suck. Whoa. Not your husband. Listening to the audiobook, I like quoted that whole bit because I just love that. You're not? You look a lot like him. Your mom thinks she's really funny because she is. Winona, you just pierced my heart. It's because I'm a land crab. She's so cute with her little pincers. That was something that I didn't mention, but like she was pretending to be a crab and like pinching at Reich's cheeks earlier. So cute. And Lo gives me a look like this child is 100% mine. Yeah, I can see that. And Lo takes this moment to like praise Daisy that she's created something that's really incredible, that Maximoff is always so excited to come to the camp, that like he feels comfortable surrounded by his peers. It's a very touching moment between Lo and Daisy. Again, another beautiful platonic moment. I like their banter, that like, thanks Lo, that means a lot. Well, that's like the one compliment I'm gonna get, so hold on to it. And she like grabs it out of the air and puts it in her bra, and he's like, I'm gonna need to bleach my brain. That sounds painful.
It's so funny. And also Daisy being like, yeah, I'm only like this with Loa Reich, right? Because he just like understands my humor. Lo, because of his just what the hell reaction. It's like she's totally, she's just doing it to get Lo's reaction out of it. Like
it like makes me think of certain kids that will also act this way. And I'm like, did they learn this from Daisy? She was the instigator of all of it. And then she also talks about how the past 6 months have been really, really challenging for Lo, but like it's very obvious to everyone in the families how strong he is, that like he's been able to push through this hard year. That in March he was finally able to walk through his dad's house for the first time, and they finally sold it in April, which was Lo's childhood home. So it's really hard. And she says, if you saw Lo now, you wouldn't find weight on his shoulders. You wouldn't see burden or torment. He stares towards the lake like he's met the pain he mentioned, but today and tomorrow, all he feels is free. Especially after that last chapter when he was struggling so much. Like, it did time. Yes, we needed time and distance between Jonathan dying and Lo reaching a better point, but also the support system that he has around him, I'm sure, also helped a lot. But Lily was right that like he has the strength and the means to get through a horrible year, and it's evident even at this point that he's getting through it.
Yeah.
So then we see Reich and what he's been up to. He's got an 8-foot long tree trunk. It's not even a branch, it's a fucking trunk. Huge. He's just carrying it. Like this like the kids could have gotten hurt with this, so I needed to clear the path or whatever. And Daisy, her banter, what is it, like 8, 9, 10 inches? Zero in on his crotch. Hey, Calloway, wrong log. And it was rotting. I didn't want it to fucking fall on anyone. Lo says, my brother, you've married this person, you realize this? And she's like, usually he says that the other way around, but he's saying it about Reich now. I grin right at Lo because he knows me and loves me for reasons beyond bringing his brother happiness. He loves me for me. I'm obsessed with this book. I love all of these beautiful relationships. And she's like grinning goofily at Lo, and he goes, what? And he turns to Reich and goes, you know who you married, right? Reich, that I fucking do. So good. So the next chapter, Rose's point of view. It is July 2026, and they are at the lake house in the Smoky Mountains. And all of the girls, the Calloway sisters, and our honorary Calloway sister, Willow, are in the house about to make a pact, and it's going to be a blood oath. Lily really wants this to be like just a spit thing, and Rose is like, no, we need to take this seriously. I've got the fucking knife. I'm ready. I will sterilize it. We'll do whatever, but we are making this blood oath. Is this safe? Probably not. Rose is like, I know how to take care of this. I know how to sterilize the knife. I am an expert at blood oaths. So they are going to make this oath. They had like a really incredible night the night before. They like spent all of this time just like talking and really connecting with each other, and it was a very special moment for them. So they want to make this oath on the sisterhood of the 5 of them. So they're like cutting each other's hands for this, and like all of the guys are out on the deck cooking lunch, like barbecuing lunch or whatever. Lo comes in. He's like, what the fuck are you crazies doing right now? Don't hurt Lily. Don't let her sacrifice you for a year's worth of heels. She gets up. She like slams the door in his face and gets a round of applause out of it. She's preening over this. Of course she is. And she sits down, and all of the girls are like, you're such a badass. I'm really glad you're my sister. We'd all be worse off without you. No, I don't think we would have. You're our Emma Frost. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I know of the comic book character, but I don't know much about her except that she means a lot to Lily. I appreciate that like, even though they don't necessarily share the same interests, that like Rose can still recognize that what she said is meaningful. I know that much. So then Rose says, we're here to make a promise. We promise to always be there for one another, to support each other's choices, to be the tides that wash away negativity and foes. However long we live, however hard life becomes, we'll never lose sight of this sisterhood. They're so different from me, but I wouldn't want them to be the same. I love them for all their oddities and for all their strengths. I do too, Rose. And I skipped it, but I'm truly grateful for these women in my life. Yeah, they're women in my life too. They're fictional women, but they are the women in my life, and I'm grateful for them as well.
Yeah. Also, I love when before like Lily went and like cut herself for their blood oath, and she was like trying to like prep herself up, and they were like, "You can do this." Rose is like, "You've given birth. You can survive this." And she said, "I'm not a warrior. I'm the village person who hides in their hut and waits for help." So I'm like, Lily, same. I feel you. Okay.
So specific too.
But Rose is like, "No, Lily, you are a warrior. You slay enemies. You stomp on critics. You've risen from ash." And it's not enough for her to just say it to her. She's like, "You say this now." Like, say you're a warrior. Say it with feeling. Like,
yes,
you can do this. And I just love, like, yeah, I feel like we see so much of Rose, like, making her see how strong or like making her acknowledge how strong she is too, and then Lily like using that to like pump herself up and like
yes, I love it. I just love them. So after their blood oath, yeah, they go and join the husbands, and they are making fun of the fact that they have these bandaged hands now. I fucking hope you all use Neosporin. Flo is like, Connor's cooking. She notes that he's bare chested cooking on the grill, but doing this at like, he is capable of doing this at a safe distance and not getting like grease splatter on him or anything. He's taking care of that. Lo's over here like taking care of Lily. Does it hurt? Are you okay? Let me see your hand. You're cut. Reich's, of course, the one being like, I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Like, I can take care of you, but like the Neosporin, we need to worry about this. And then Sam is giving Poppy a drink. And how did Rose rope you into this? Rose says, "You think I persuaded her? I can't even convince Poppy to get a bikini wax with me. I like it all natural. Things I didn't think I'd ever know. Poppy has a bush." Poppy, when did you get so feisty? Which, okay, I like this moment with Poppy. She has been a very iffy character for me, but I do appreciate this funny moment with her.
Yeah.
So that's all the Calloway sisters and their husbands. And then Willow and Garrison are taking care of Veda. She talks about how Veda is like the easiest baby that she's ever witnessed, that she like doesn't cry on airplanes. She's just so good. She's like Athena, the goddess Athena. But why would Athena decide to put herself in a baby's body? Like, similar.
Also just funny because she has her like, she has all her like chaos gremlins. Her, she just, the Cobalt home is not, they're chaotic. Yeah. So she's like, wow, this is like the calmest toddler ever. Like, they just have the quietest, calmest baby. Don't have that experience.
Nope. And also, there are four kids down in the lake. They're playing a game of chicken. So I think it's Sully on Jane's shoulders and Beckett on Maximoff's shoulders. And Jane says, "Go, Sully, overthrow our adversaries." Such a Cobalt chant, if ever I've heard one. It's funny that they're like wrestling or whatever. It's chicken. They're trying to like knock the other one off the other kid's shoulders, and Lo's over here. We saw earlier that he has this like bullhorn that he used during the board meeting. He brings this along to the lake house and like uses it to yell at them, "Move away from the dock." He is such a dad. Jesus Christ, they're gonna hurt themselves. Stop it. Get further away. This man questioned whether he would be a good dad, and let me tell you, he's so great. And then Rose says, "I quickly scan the backyard for all my gremlins. Elliot, Tom, and Luna are on the hammocks. 3-year-old Xander and my 4-year-old Ben play with Legos on the hill. Where's Charlie?" Connor tries calling him. He's not picking up his phone. She says this isn't the first time that he's like disappeared. Yesterday I found Charlie on the roof of all places. I truly wondered if he was my child until he pompously jabbered about physics and scientific theories like he'd discovered them himself. And like I said, Connor's trying to call him. He doesn't answer. Rose is like, therefore, screaming his name. She doesn't need the megaphone.
Nope.
Yeah. And Lo's like, there goes my left eardrum. You use that. And motions to the megaphone. And then he does appear. She says, Charlie, who looks more and more like Connor every day, barely acknowledges us before skipping down the steps. Connor says that he's just mentally bored and he'll play chess with him later. But we are continuing to see more of Charlie's personality coming. We're going to get a big chapter from him soon. But this is like the start of it. He was the kid that was saying no constantly and like showed signs of like high levels of intelligence, that when he was really young he was able to like pay attention, like seemed like he was paying attention better to the things that his parents are saying. And now we're seeing that like in this space where like the kids are very clearly keeping themselves entertained, this is not the kind of mental stimulation that Charlie needs. So once they've located where Charlie is, Rose turns her head and notices that Ben has wandered away from Xander and is now laying in a giant sinking hole of mud. And she does what she never does. She abandons her heels and she goes tearing off into the yard after him. He takes off his clothes. And she's like, are you sure he's ours? Most assuredly, he's ours. Rose gets the hose to clean him off. Connor's the one who grabs the wiggling 4-year-old. When Connor places Ben on the grass, our son tries to spring up back towards the mud. By the way, Ben is completely nude. That's my boy. And he like gets the mud on Connor, and Rose is like, this is hilarious. Our son has marked his territory and it's you. And Ben is being a wiggly little kid and like, I want to go play. Let me go. Don't I get a choice? Your choice is, if we wash you now, you'll be able to play with Xander. Or if you return to the mud, you'll never be allowed inside again. The mud! And she notes, this is the first child that always chooses the option with the worst personal benefit. And Connor has painstakingly tried to tell Ben to do what's best for him. Ben goes with his heart.
It's I love it too because like we've seen for a while how Rose and Connor do give their kids choices. Like when, different stuff. Think of like when Jane wanted Sadie to like come back and live with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget exactly what Connor had said, but basically like had given her like a choice. And like
Yes.
she
It was before when Sadie had to leave, not when she was coming back, I think.
she wanted her to stay.
Yeah.
And
but I can't remember what he says, but I do remember this conversation.
Yeah. And he gave her like a choice, and even then she was kind of like she was sad. But like she got the point was like across, because then she was like obviously picked the choice that was
right,
the logical one, or it was like, okay,
because
like,
Reich is over here like, why are you giving these ridiculous options? Like, one of them is such a horrible option, that is not how I would raise my kid, but also like, this is how Connor is going to raise his kid. But yeah, it was like a really terrible, clear, horrible option, and the one with the highest benefit.
Yeah, but not Ben. He doesn't like
nope
pick the one that makes
can never go in the house.
Personal benefit. No, like the mud.
Yes.
Sweet Ben.
And I love him so much. It's very, very touching and like very meaningful to see this, knowing what we know about Ben in the future. Mm-hmm. Having read his book at this point. But they talk about how like, if you don't get to like, if you choose the mud and you never get to come indoors, then you won't be able to attend Wednesday night dinners. And she talks about how like the kids constantly ask, is it Wednesday yet? It is clearly their favorite day of the week. You'll never see Pipsqueak. I'll take him with me. He's like an indoor bird. They have
to keep going.
They have to have a lot of reasons, like a lot of ammunition to convince Ben of a different option.
It's a pretty dire situation if he stays in the mud to not want to do it.
Yes. And Connor's over here like, it's up to you to use your head to determine which is better for you. But Rose is over here like, being clean is more fun than being dirty. And he's like, Mommy. I'm just picturing this little 3-year-old. What do you know? Or no, he's 4. Is he 3 or 4?
He's 4. Xander's 3. He's 4.
That's right. Yes, my 4-year-old. Yeah, this little 4-year-old being like, Mommy, what do you know? But she like squirts him with the hose and he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So easy to please.
Yes. I also love that we see Rose being like fun, and I don't know, I feel like she gets like people have like the idea that like Rose is like very, you know, like strict and like not like super like warm and loving. It's like yes, she's not like the most like, you know,
she's not goofy, she's not like,
yeah, and she's not like you know, like she even says like I forget what this was, but like Lily can hug you. She's better at hugs. Like she's not like a big hugger. Like that wasn't to her kids, but like said someone. And like just because she can be, just because she's like that doesn't mean that she still isn't like playful at times. And like I think, I don't know, I've seen like people have this idea of like, oh, like I don't know, that she'd be like a super strict and like not like fun mom, whatever. And it's like no.
She's abandoned her heels at this point. She's barefoot.
Like, she will do anything for her kids. We've seen that, like, so many times since, like, going back to Fuel the Fire. And so, like, even if that means, like here, she's just trying to, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But she's, like, showing him, you know, even with that, she's like, okay, like, we can make this fun. Like, let's be fun and playful. And, like, just because at times she can be not a typical, like, super I don't know, playful ways that people might typically see like a very whatever.
I don't want to say like she's affectionate, but like not your typical kind of affection, not like very touchy-feely. She's still an ice queen in her core. But yeah, she still has these moments where she can be fun with her kids and still parent them in a way that still feels authentic to herself.
Yeah.
Being clean is better than being dirty. Of course, that's something that Rose Calloway would say.
And like knowing that like that's what Ben needs, you know, like that's like like Ben is like different than like a lot of her other kids, and like, you know, Charlie might not like be in that situation where he would need that, and he'd probably be more of like Connor's like, let's logic through this, but like Ben, like he needs that playful side of her, and she can like go to that to like get across to him, because she was like, okay, he's not going to pick the logical thing. You sitting here and reasoning with him, like, why are you doing this? They're like, okay, no, we can show him being clean is more fun. Like that is what he needs right now, and like that's what we can do. And like she does that for her kids, like whatever they need and what's best for them, and also like parents to what is best for each kid.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I also love that, like, we then see this one little playful bit just between her and Connor that, like, again, Ben has marked up Connor, and so she's, like, hosing down Ben. He's so happy now, and she, like, takes the hose and squirts Connor's chest, and he's like, yeah, I knew you were going to do this. He was expecting it, and she goes, Richard, and he says, Rose. I'll never stop loving and hating the way he says my name. I love it. Okay, so the next chapter, still July. They're still at the lake house. We are in Reich's point of view. He is getting ready for bed at this point, and he talks about like Winona is no longer in a crib. She's got like a big girl bed, and it takes longer to like really get her to go to sleep because she'll crawl right out of it. And so he's back in his room with Daisy, and she has this theory. It could be she has one is right, one is wrong. Her first theory, the lake house has magical sleeping properties that produce erotic dreams. And the entire time they're being very playful about this. I think, is he stripped at this point? He's like, at least taken off his shirt. I don't know if he's taken off his pants, but he's definitely talking about he's getting hard. Second theory, and he like pulls her ankle and like pulls her back so she falls on the bed. She's radiating happiness. Second theory, that having sex with someone before sleep produces really, really erotic dreams. And he's like, that can be fucking tested. I lift her in my arms so fast, she gasps against my shoulder. I carry Daisy to the circular rug, our luggage and clothes scattered all around the fucking room. I kick a toddler scooter aside. I love this beautiful life they have. Messy, full of kids' toys. It's the dream that they wanted. They test out Daisy's theory and they have sex. And it's very them, the way they're just so playful about it and wild and on the floor doing it like they're animals. I feel like she talks about that, maybe. But it just like fits them more. He talks about how like the first time they had sex was like in a tent. It's more them and who they are. That outdoors is where they'd probably have sex more often than indoors on a bed. He says, I fucking love you, sweetheart. She glows like a million suns. I love that comparison. Our beautiful sunshiny Daisy. But he's kind of like had sex, like they fucked enough that she's a little tired now. Reich is not. So he's still awake and he is looking at his phone and he sees an email from Celebrity Worldwide Entertainment telling him congratulations. And they talk about how like this is a more reputable site than or publication than Celebrity Crush. Celebrity Worldwide is a little nicer. And they are congratulating him on becoming this year's sexiest man worldwide. So he like takes a screenshot, he sends it to the group chat. Did any of you fucking get this email? Low, sexy motherfucker. Connor, clearly I wasn't in contention. Willow is saying like, there's only one. This is a huge honor for you. Rose, remove your ego from the thread. Richard, you weren't the chosen one. Connor, I'm the only one qualified to judge this contest. And guess who I'd choose, darling? Lily, is this real? Exclamation point. Question mark, exclamation point. Connor, clearly. Rose, it wasn't that clear. Garrison, this is a mess. Garrison leaves the group. Lily, how is Reich sexiest man worldwide before Lauren Hale? Connor, I believe you meant me. Willow, what are they all doing? It's like 10 p.m., he said. Willow's over here and she's like edited the headline so it says low. She's like, fix that for you, Lily. Like, what are they doing? And they're having this whole conversation. Reich gets out of bed and he's walking down to all of the rooms. He opens Lily and Lowe's room. Stop fucking texting. Congratulations. Wait, you texted us. Well, I've changed my fucking mind.
He was like, this is what I signed up for.
He's the sexiest man worldwide. He's got 8-pack powers. His abs can kill. But then he also has to ask, like, what does FTFY mean? Because that's what Willow texted instead of, like, fix that for you. He still doesn't understand internet slang. And then he goes over to Rose and Connor's room, opens the door. Rose she handcuffed? Yes, handcuffed to the bed. In her nightgown with her phone in her hand, texting while Connor is straddling her. They're having this fucking argument in the text thread. They're the only ones like really participating in the text thread at this point.
Everyone else is like, stop. It's just them going back and forth. Like they're face to face, but they're text fighting in the group chat.
So he goes, stop fucking texting, and Connor just says, no, shut the door. It's like, I'm so happy to continue to do this. I am in my element arguing with Rose right now. I flip him off without facing their bed, but I don't leave. I'm fucking serious. So am I. I will put your balls in acid, Rose threatens. Less hostile because, believe it or fucking not, they're still texting. I love this chapter. And then he leaves and he's like, oh my God, I literally just walked in on Rose and Connor just about to have sex. I lived with them for years and that never happened. And he finishes with, I'm fairly certain their foreplay is words, and I'm 100% certain.
Yep.
It is. It's that whole thing that I mentioned like a couple episodes ago. Missionary is my favorite position, so we can argue face to face.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the next chapter is Connor's point of view. It is August of 2026 at Dalton Elementary. And he is chasing after Charlie, who is exiting the school in a hurry. He is been pulled out. He was in the principal's office by 10 a.m. on a school day. He indignantly and resentfully pushes through the double doors, not slowing, and the moment I'd seen coming for years has finally arrived. Connor really wants to talk with him about this moment. He's like urging him to stop, and Charlie is very frustrated and upset. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me it'd be like this? Because you wouldn't wanted me to have spoon fed you. You would have rather drawn the conclusion yourself in time. And we learned that Charlie is really struggling, that his intelligence is just at a level unlike a lot of people. He's very much on Connor's level, and it frustrates him that people aren't at the same level that he is. He feels kind of trapped. And like the reason why he's upset is because like he was trying, I think was it the teacher or substitute teacher? He was telling the teacher that like he would save time doing roll call if he like didn't say all of the names or something. No, he was
Didn't
no,
say
no,
last names.
That's one of the examples, but he got in trouble because he was saying that like he was
They weren't
telling the
teaching the
teacher
right way.
it was like, yeah, a more efficient way to teach third grade math. But he talks about how like if the teacher just like didn't say last names or like said it did roll call a different way, we would be saving time. These people, they hang out with like this girl, Annabelle hangs out with girls that hate her, but she actually believes they're friends. Mr. Crowder takes 5 extra minutes calling attendance because he won't say the first name only, and these dumb guys make fun of Becca for going to ballet class after school. I'm surrounded by stupid people in a stupid world, and everyone does stupid things, and it's slow. It's so slow. And God, I cannot imagine what it must be like to be in his head feeling that. I feel like I have a very, very microscopic instance of it where like I remember being in 5th grade math and I was at like a level lower than what I needed to be. And it was so frustrating being in that class that I wasn't even doing well. They had to like put me into a higher math class, and like it was better for me. Like we were going at a better speed, but like that was just 5th grade math. I cannot imagine what it must be like with Charlie's IQ and the way he thinks and operates through the world. It's different.
Yeah.
Connor is really the only person that truly understands the struggle that Charlie's going through, because Connor's gone through the same thing. They're kind of like Charlie's at this crossroads. Connor, when he kind of understood or had this revelation that like the world is never going to match his speed, that he's always going to be surrounded by people less intelligent than him. He can either learn to assimilate, and how does he I always get the metaphor confused. You can walk backwards in a sea of people while everyone walks forward, but you can't force everyone to walk backwards with you. And Connor, when he experienced this, it was, I'm just going to do whatever, like, I'm going to try and match myself to everyone else. Like, I will recognize that I am smarter and continue to better myself, but I will try to also be more like other people so that, like, we're on a better level, that it is more manageable for me to move throughout the world this way. And Charlie has to decide, is he going to be like that, or is he going to continue to walk backwards?
I also love that it was Reich who first talked with Connor about that back in, I think it was in Fuel the Fire, and he was kind of gave him advice on that when he was figuring out what to do. And I don't know, like it's trickled down and like helped through. I don't know. That was like clearly a big moment with Connor figuring out what he wanted to do, and yeah,
Yeah.
like
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I see the parallels there for sure. But so he tells Charlie, you need to skip a couple of grades. It's something that they've discussed at certain points. Beckett, his twin, has like really recognized how much Charlie has been struggling and has gone to Rose and Connor to be like, help him. He needs to like be pulled out of school and be homeschooled, or he needs to go up a couple of grades. And Charlie's always kind of resisted because he wants to be in class with Beckett. He talked about how these guys make fun of Beckett for doing something that's considered more feminine, and he's being made fun of for it. And Charlie really wants to protect his brother. And Beckett's over here like, I'm trying to protect you. You're having such a hard time in class, and like I'm protecting you mentally. So they decide in this moment that Charlie is going to be moved up to Maximoff and Jane's grade. He's going to skip 2 grades. And he also tells him like, you need to decide, are you like, how are you going to move throughout the world? And Charlie decides that he is going to walk backwards, which means that he is diverging from Connor in that he's not going to try to assimilate. He is just going to be himself. He does have to recognize that like it will come with its own challenges of continuing to feel trapped. And again, I think I talk about this in like the review that I wrote for Some Kind of Perfect, that this book is like the epilogue goodbye to the Core Six, but it's very much a prequel for the rest of the series. So this is like our little insight into the struggles that Charlie is going to continue to encounter in his life, and this feeling of being trapped is something that he will still have to contend with for a while. That's it. Do you want to blend in or do you want to walk backwards? He said, and I actually really like this bit. He says, you see more benefits in skipping to 5th grade when you didn't even do it. For you, yes. Why? Do you want to blend in or do you want to walk backwards? He knows that a sea of people will always walk forwards, but he can choose to move with them or against them. Where do his self-interests lie? To learn to be fake or to learn to be real? His eyes are no longer filled with tears. He holds this powerful understanding that pushes his carriage outward, pulls his shoulder back, lifts his head to greater heights, and he says, walk backwards. That's why you're not like me. I also think this is just really interesting because we talk about it. It's hard not to compare because of this chapter where Connor talks about like, I went through this exact thing. I have an IQ that's like on par with yours. I know what you've been going through. So like there's constantly this comparison that Connor and Charlie are so similar, but it's that line there, to be fake or learn to be real, that was the whole thing with Rose and Connor, that Connor always wanted to be fake and Rose was the one that taught him to be real, and Charlie is opting to be his real self, which makes it like so Rose. He is Connor's son, but he's very much Rose's son too, and I love to see that. Like we can compare him against her a lot too, and we'll see it a lot more when he's older, that there are just certain actions that he takes that I would associate more with being raised by Rose versus being raised by Connor.
Yeah.
But I think this is like a good moment to remember that like he is like Connor, but also he just said, you're not like me.
Yeah.
They are very different people.
They have similarities in like what, like they're both very smart and frustrated with the world in ways, but like the way they deal with that is opposite here. Like they're literally give with these 2 choices, like Connor did one and Charlie's doing the other. Like that is, where they really diverge. And like Connor also told him like, you're not me. If you were, every time someone patronized you, you would have thought I'm better than you and moved on. And that's what Connor was able to do. We saw it especially a lot in like you mentioned with like him and Rose. They kind of talked a lot about it a lot because he was putting on that like fake.
Yeah.
Just like,
especially in like Kiss the Sky, where he would like, and when we first meet him too, where he would say a lot of like dude, bro, like the slang stuff, and that slowly went away as he became more real with the Core Six. But that was something that like Rose really had to teach him how to be real, and it was like the thing that like in Kiss the Sky, it was learn to be real, even though they were in this reality show, like try and be as real as you can. And then in Fuel the Fire, it was like try and be fake to protect our family. It's like this thing that they go back and forth on, but Rose has always been the one to teach Connor how to be real, and Connor's been the one to teach Rose how to be fake. Because that's where their expertise lie.
Yes, various. And it really just also shows like their kids are also influenced by both parents. Like he has Connor, but he also has Rose, and so like we see a lot of the other kids, like we've talked about even with Sully and other kids, like how they're influenced by like both of their parents and like what like just all of that. But like the same with Charlie, like he has her and they have like they do have similarities, but he also is Rose's son and he has a lot of similarities to her and he's been raised by both of these people and like he can pick up things from both of them and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's different when like we're looking at the second generation here and a lot of them have like they're going to get stuff from both parents. So
Yeah.
it's not always like direct comparisons with one of the core six because like so many of them have so much from like even like a lot Charlie is like a lot like low in ways that like
Yeah.
Connor is not. But yeah, I also see
I
that he is very Rose in a lot of ways.
It's just like such a testament to Chris and Becca's writing too that they can create like these characters that you can see the little bits of like their personality from their parents and then also all the differences like that they can create
Yeah.
such unique characters and so many unique characters.
And
It's
none of them feel the same. Like
nope, no.
they're so different.
So
Even if they
good.
have similarities, they're so different in other ways. Like
Yeah.
they are such unique characters that you also just like can know get to know so well
Yeah.
through the book. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we are going to do the first half, or not really the first half, but the first couple of chapters of 2027, and then we will cover the rest in the next episode. 2027. I believe the human brain is capable of great and terrible things. We're dreadfully complicated creatures. I wonder who said that. Jane Eleanor Cobalt. Okay, so it's 2027 January. We are in Reich's point of view, and he is at the Cobalt estate. And he talks about how he's very used to being surrounded by women. He has, as we noted in, I can't remember what episode, the one where Winona is born. He fucking prefers it that way. But he's not used to being around these two girls. And that is Jane and Maria. So they are getting ready to go to a premiere. We noted, I can't remember what episode, but Maria has gotten into acting at this point, and she has this premiere for a movie, and she's decided to bring Jane as her plus one for this premiere. And so they're trying on their dresses before they attend this event. And I think they've got their do they have their robes on at this point? Like, he can't see what they're wearing, I feel like. But they're having this talk. Like, the girls are talking. He's waiting because he and Connor share a gun. And he's about to go on this, like, hike, I think is what he's doing. He's going somewhere by himself. He wants to bring protection with him. He, like, had been attacked by a cougar on a different hike. Well, I think he was trying to go rock climbing and he had to like walk to get there. He was attacked by a cougar, and it was a really close call. He and Connor decided they're going to share a gun. Connor keeps it in a safe and Reich needs the passcode to access this. So that's why he's at their house waiting for Connor to come downstairs. And meanwhile, Jane and Maria are like in the living room talking to each other while getting ready like to try on their dresses for this premiere. Maria is talking about how like and then he said 18 is the new 25, and I was like, no, 18 is still 18, 25 is still 25, and idiocy is still you. And then what he'd do, he called me a bitch and walked away. I love Maria. Like, her parents kind of questionable, but I love Maria. She's so cool. I want her to have her.
Yes.
No, it's not a movie. She was in a movie and she got nominated for an award, and she's bringing Jane to this awards show. And he talks about how Rose did eventually do her a fashion, like I don't know how you would put it. She unveiled her fashion line that she had talked about wanting to make the haute couture more fancy, accessible to the everyday woman kind of fashion line. She did unveil that, and it was like a huge success. he talks about how proud Connor was when Rose walked down the runway at the end of the fashion show. Like, it was very clear how proud he was of her. So the girls want to wear Callaway Couture to this show so that they can continue showing off Rose's designs. And he's like, Reich is texting Rose, like, where are you? She says she's making a couple of adjustments. She's going to be down in a second. And Reich, do not let them convince you to make them coffee. They've already had more caffeine than they're allowed. And he's like, well, fuck. They're over here drinking a cup of coffee that Reich had made for them already. He's such a pushover for these girls.
Literally,
All
since
the
all the
girls
girls in the family go to him first, 9 times out of 10, he gives in. Yep, sounds like Reich.
In my fucking defense, they asked for coffee before I received the text. So they're still in their robes. Jane then says, let's take off our robes and take pictures. Not for social media, just for themselves, just for the memes. But let's take pictures of us in our dresses. So they take off the robes. And Reich is like, that's what you're fucking wearing. She's 11, not 18 like Maria, who wears a black long sleeve gown. Jane doesn't even resemble herself, not only because it's too old for her frame, but because it's not her fucking style. She asks, isn't it magnificent? Fuck no. Amen, Reich. And then he says, has your dad seen the fucking gown yet? No, but he won't mind. Will he? His firstborn, his daughter, the baby he delivered in the back of a fucking limo. Without question, he'll care. So then the next chapter, it's still January 2027 at the Cobalt Estate, but now we are in Connor's point of view. He has met Reich at the front door. He's just gotten home. He has the passcode for Reich because, like, Reich has left the living room at this point. He's just, like, waiting at the door. I need to leave. I have to go. He gets the passcode. Connor's like, be careful, my friend. I love that. He says it in Italian, too. But, like, he knows why Reich wants the weapon. Like, he does not want Reich to get hurt. It's very, very touching. I love seeing the little signs of Connor and Reich's friendship, but he's like hesitating. Connor senses that there's something that Reich wants to tell him and he won't tell him. He's just like, you're gonna see soon. And Connor's like, this is annoying. Why can't you just tell me? So he gives Reich the passcode. Reich leaves. Connor goes in the house and he sees what Maria and Jane are wearing. And he has some thoughts, but he approaches this in a very Connor Cobalt way. What are your intentions with this dress? Well, I intend to wear this. I want to display a Callaway Couture garment for Mom. What if my intentions are altruistic? What if I prefer to support Callaway Couture over wearing a dress in her own style? Then you'd sacrifice your personal self in favor of someone else. What does that sound like to you? Dispiriting, I suppose, but the benefit for Callaway Couture outweighs the personal cost. No, you're not beholden to our companies, Jane. Unless your dream is to be a fashion designer or take over Callaway Inc., your job is to follow your passion, never to protect ours. Love that.
Yes.
So she says that she's like changed her mind. Her purpose is to dress for love. And Connor can tell she kind of like, she has this little sparkle in her eye, like this is a riddle. And Maria's over here like, do you have your eye on a boy or a girl? And she's like, thank you for the inclusion. I am only interested in boys, Maria, but no, it's not a person. And where does Connor talk about? Could have sworn there's like, oh yeah, there it is. She doesn't have her eye on a specific person. Connor says, so you intend to look your best for the purpose of love. Is love a specific person? It is. And Maria says, is it Ian Eastwick? My muscles start to strain. My eyes start to reflexively narrow. I arch another brow. The boy who drew a penis on the back of Jane's notebook. I love seeing these little ticks of Connor being like a normal dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not as stoic as he always wants to be. But Connor solves the riddle. Love is you. I wish to dress my best because of the love I have for myself, not for a boy, but for me. And then she talks about how if she never fell in love, she wouldn't even bat an eye, which Connor is surprised by this, and he asks her, and she says, like, she just feels like she has enough love from her family, her siblings, her cousins, her mom and dad, and aunts and uncles. Like, that's plenty of love for her. And Connor does hope that in the future, if love, like, is, I don't want to say presented to her, But if she does encounter love for a significant other, he does not want her to fight it the way that he hopes that she won't fight it, the way that he fought it for Rose, which Connor, this man, I cannot believe this man who like resisted love so much, was just so focused on himself, is over here like, I want her to fall in love. If she falls in love, I want her to accept it and for it to be easy for her. He doesn't want her to fall for an inferior boy, but if there's an equal for her, like, he'll be happy for her and support her, and he wants that. Connor, man that you are.
Come a long way from thinking that love was wouldn't bring value or like make someone like a better person. Come a long way from there.
Yes. And he says, in one breath, I'm proud of her independence and the fact that her mode of thinking will save her from an immense heartache. In another, I can only hope that she's open to love if it comes. When it appeared in my life, it was a struggle to accept it, to hold it, to return it. Jane is not me, and I see she could be someone far better. I love that he's like, I want her to be better. I don't want to. This narcissistic man's over here like, I want someone to be better than me. I don't want to be like the perfect model or whatever. Like, no, she can be better than me in this. And I want it. So good. So finally, Rose comes downstairs and she has this garment on a hanger and a pair of shoes too. And Jane recognizes immediately that her mom made this for her. It is a pastel blue tulle skirt and a sweater with thousands of hand-stitched sequins that create a cheetah print. And in her other hand, she has chunky cheetah sequined heels with pastel pink buckles. That Rose made all of this. Crazy. I can barely crochet a sweater. Oh my God. But Rose tells them, never sacrifice your personal style. Don't be anyone but you. I love how like we saw it a little bit in Charlie's chapter, like, be real. We're like reiterating it even more. And with Luna's chapter too, like, be yourself. And we see it with Charlie's chapter, be your real self, don't be fake. And we see it again with Jane, be your true self, don't be fake. I love the messaging.
Yes. And that Connor and Rose don't need their kids to be like them or to like what they like. Like Rose isn't like, no, like this fashion that I would like. She's like, yeah, she makes her the exact outfit that she knows is like so Jane because it's like that is her and it doesn't need to be in her style or someone else's style. Like she just wants her to be who she is. Like, yes, be who you are.
Which, again, I already talked about it in that other episode. We, like, talked about Jane's personal style, but I'll get up on my soapbox again because I don't usually get the negative comments, but the ones that I do get, they stick with me. And, like, did you read Some Kind of Perfect? Do we understand that Jane dresses differently than Rose? And I cannot get that this person was like, she doesn't dress like she's Rose Calloway, Cobalt's daughter. She looks like a child. That's the way fucking Jane dresses. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's not going to dress like Rose. I'm not going to put her in the same clothes that Rose wears because you know what? She wouldn't wear the clothes that Rose wears.
No.
And we see Rose insisting that she not wear the clothes that Rose wears.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the disconnect, people?
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, off the soapbox. I'm good. So Connor talks about how the night before, Rose had talked about what would happen if Jane had worn this red dress that she had been planning on wearing. That, like, she's still a child, but Rose was like, she was like, I will go to that show, like that red carpet, and I will stab the eyes out of anyone who tries to sexualize this young girl. But like, we're very aware that that could have been a possibility if she had worn that dress because the world is not always a great place and kind of sick. And Connor says, we both know the concept of women in media is much different than men in media. He says, she won't wear the dress. I can also schedule you an appointment with an otolaryngologist. I can hear you. I just don't think the same as you. You don't think I'd convince her to wear something else, or at the very least, you'd convince her. She's like, would you bathe in pig's blood for me? Yes. For them. Yes. Rose, she's just like loyalty to the core. She wants to make Connor's not acting like he's loyal in this moment. She needs proof.
Yeah.
So like it ends with Connor saying, "I'd do anything to ensure the safety and well-being of my family, including, at the very last effort, physically barring my daughter from leaving the house in that dress. The reason why I'm so much better than everyone else. To win, I only ever need words." Which I love that we see this bit of Connor saying, like, yeah, of course I'd fucking stop her from leaving if that was the case. Like, the reaction that everyone kind of wants to see from him, but he's like, no, that's actually not who I am. I'm going to be my real self. And I know I'm capable of convincing her to wear the dress that the dress that Rose has designed for her and help her logic this out and choose the option with the more personal benefit, the higher personal benefit towards her. I like that little reminder at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I think this is our last chapter that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So it is March 2027 in Rose's point of view, once again at the Cobalt Estate, and she is running around Ben's room decorated with fingerprint artwork, handprints directly on the walls. We gave him the paint, but we didn't give him the idea to forego paper and canvas. That is all Ben. But then, so like, they'll let him do this messy thing, but we told him if he ever wants to change his walls in the future, he'll have to paint over the sloppy artwork he created. I make sure to use words like daunting and long hours and aching work. Ben smiled and said, "Cool."
Again, he does not the personal benefit that most people would choose. No, he's like, no, this is fun. I'm doing it. I don't care.
Love him.
I'll paint it in the future. That's fine. This is fun and cool. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I follow my heart. Listen, okay? So Rose is running around the room trying to find Pipsqueak. She cannot locate Pipsqueak. She's a little afraid that Jane's cat may have eaten the bird. Lady Macbeth, if you ate this bird during his birthday party, I will kill you. She talks about how they are having a joint birthday party, that because Winona's birthday is so close to Ben's, he was like, let's just do a birthday party together. And Rose is over here like, I cannot conceptualize this. Is he my son? I love birthdays. It should be all about you. And he's over here willingly combining it with someone else. Oh my God. But like, this is who Ben is. He is a little wild and does not always pick the choice with the most personal benefit, but he has, like, he goes with his heart and he has the biggest heart.
Yeah.
So they have this birthday party and Rose is trying to find Pipsqueak for Ben because this is his bird. And Beckett's also helping. He had taught Pipsqueak how to sing happy birthday to Ben. So they're like, they checked Ben's room. He's not in there. They're going to look in Beckett's room now. They talk about, like, she talks about how Ben and Beckett look very similar. So sometimes Pipsqueak will like also gravitate towards Beckett because he is so similar to Ben. And she also talks about how Beckett is the surface of a rippling lake, water, just like his father. So that's like another thing that I always think about is like everyone loves to compare Charlie to Connor, and like Beckett to Rose. And I'm over here like, I feel like it's opposite, that Beckett is a lot of Connor and Charlie is a lot of Rose.
Yeah. Beckett has the, like Rose and just said before, like he's the most even-tempered and calmest of all the kids. And it's like, it's very, very Connor. Like, I don't know, he doesn't have that, like,
he doesn't necessarily have all of the cobalt chaos. That's not him. She talks about how graceful he is at ballet, that she was very stiff when she did it and not really unbending, and he is just not that at all, and very smooth, calm, and I don't know the right words for it, but yes. They also talk about how like, I have a hunch that the bird flew over there. Either that or Pipsqueak is very much dead. Beckett trails after me. He'll cry. Tom stepped on a caterpillar yesterday, and Ben wept by the oak tree. Poor Ben. He loves all big heart. He has so much love for his family. He has so much love for every living thing. This poor little caterpillar caterpillar
Yeah.
did not deserve to be squished and stepped on by Tom. While they're going through Beckett's room, Rose notices a couple of things, and she like reactively and reflexively goes to adjust certain things on like his desk and his bookshelf while she's searching, and while Beckett's somewhere else in his room searching. He turns around and sees what Rose has done, and he gets really upset and anxious. And this is where we see, like, this is a comparison between Beckett and Rose, which is that he also has OCD like she does. And she talks about how she's sorry because her OCD is battling against his OCD, that she like has her certain way of doing it, but he has his certain way, and he needs to let that be his. But it's also like she recognizes that she can't let him, like she cannot let his OCD run his life. He has to be a little more unbending too with this. He's so graceful in ballet in the way that she was very unbending, and he needs to give a little in this regard. And they also talk about how they're kind of like, ballet is about perfect technique, perfect form, perfect timing. He can be OCD and be a ballet dancer, but it could also exacerbate his OCD as well. It like, she talks about how like it breeds perfection, like this pretty little monster.
Yes. Ballet is, I mean, probably a lot of sports are like that, but
I can understand how in
because there's
ballet.
so, yeah, there's just like so much technical, and
Mm-hmm.
even like ballet specifically, out of like all like in dance in general, like ballet, I danced for like a
I
long
figured
time
you'd
growing
probably be
up.
able to talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Dancing, I did a lot of styles, like, I don't know, tap,
Yeah.
jazz, like all of it.
Yeah.
But ballet specifically is very like, it's just, there's like a lot more like technical and precision in a lot of things, where like in a lot of the other styles, there is more freedom to like, not that you don't still need to like have technique, but sometimes those are, yeah, there's just not as much as like technique and precision, which is funny because that's why a lot of people don't like, if they're not only doing ballet, a lot of people don't like ballet. Like that's like, especially as like a kid, that's like a lot of, the
I can
style
see
of
that.
dance that people are like, oh my gosh, I have to do ballet because I need the technique for these other styles, but like it's
Yeah.
boring or it's hard. I always loved it because I was like, I love the precision in the tech and like everything, because it's like very, yeah, I liked being like very
I can see
precise and
that.
like that kind of stuff.
I'm that way with like art because I have always been more science leaning and math, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's very straightforward. 1 + 1 = 2. Like that's the way to go. And so like the creativity part of art and just being a little more loosey goosey, it's like a struggle for me. So I personally like when it's a little more rigid. And like the method that I'm currently learning is like the Loomis method, and there's like a very straightforward, you make your circle, you draw your lines, and you like,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that because that's very
Yeah.
precise and perfect, and that works a little better for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And like, yeah, ballet is definitely, even like within dance, like I'd say like
Hmm.
that's like one of the styles. I feel like that a little bit with tap too, just because there's a lot of technique there. But like, yeah, so I can see that. Like, yeah, it requires a lot of like attention to detail and
Yeah.
precision, and like all of that can get, especially like I can see Rose's concern about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even just you talking
Yeah.
about it, I can understand where Becca could lean into that a little too hard. I mean,
Hmm.
prequel, we're going to continue to see this into the spin-off books in the next generation. This does not go away. But anyway, it's this, like we had this conversation with Connor and Charlie about their struggles with their intelligence and like trying to keep up with the world. And this is Rose and Beckett's similar conversation with the OCD, where he asks like, does this get any easier? And she is like, Connor was Charlie's like guiding star for this, and Rose is going to be Beckett's kind of guiding star for this challenge. But um she does assure him it will get easier one day. She squeezes his hand, he squeezes back, and like fate has spoken, Pipsqueak lands on Beckett's shoulder. I'm about to chew out the bird, but then he begins singing happy birthday to the wrong boy. But Beckett and I share a smile, and he squeezes my hand again. So we are going to end this episode there. Look at us. We got through 3 years. We're almost there, guys. We're going to do Disneyland next episode, and then the goodbye chapters, the episode after that, and then the bonus scenes, and we will be done with this book. We're so close. Almost there. But like I said,
there.
we're gonna end the episode here, and we will continue next time. Until then, continue to stay addicted to Krista and Becca's writing like us.